Okay. I'll sharpen the tip. Not too sharp. See how that works. I suppose that's okay. Yeah. I'm getting the crushing. So I need to go a little bit sharper with the point, with the flaker. Now, why exactly does that matter? It's because I'm knapping on a much finer edge. And the platforms are going to be smaller. Right, so with a small platform and a big flaker, it crushes at the outsides of that platform. You don't really want it to crush the outsides of the platform. You want it to seat in the middle and have most of the force go through the middle. If it's starting to crush the outsides of that platform and the area surrounding the area that you're working, you're going to get crushing that invades into your platform, and it's just going to compound the amount of crushing going on. So you want to be able to seat the flaker on small platforms as the edge gets thinner and more delicate. Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but you get the idea. I'm trying to reduce the size of the flakes, and when that happens, I've got to reduce the tool size and tip size and the amount of force. That edge is really crude right now. So I'm thinning and shaping the tip as best I can right now. It is possible to abrade with the flaker. But I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it until you have more experience. Like, I can abrade the edge with the flaker. Yeah, okay, that's better. Now what happens now that I've made the tip sharp and I'm working on the delicate area of the point, which is the very tip of the point, what happens when I go back down here? Am I going to have to dull this? Well, hopefully not. Hopefully I can run some long flakes even with the delicate, even with the sharpened tip. If not, yes, I will have to dull the flaker again. just trying to get used to running some delicate flakes right now. Yeah, that's not too bad. Trying to avoid any step fractures near the tip, or anywhere actually, but the tip is very important to be clear and clean. With little snaps instead of crushings when you remove a flake. You don't want to hear any crushing when you remove the flake. If you want nice, clean, clear edges and a clear surface. Yeah, a little bit too much pressure took the whole tip off. But I still got plenty of length. All right, let's see. You can hear some crushing there because I'm abrading at the same time. I'm using more passive pressure as I try to be more precise. There's a reason why the flakes travel inward this way instead of travel that way. If you're flaking this way, you tend to snap off the tip. So, you start near the tip and then flake away from the tip. It reduces the risk of blowing the tip off, supposedly. Napping into a step fracture because I'm rusty. See that step fracture right there? I napped right into it to see if I could blow it off or blow it away, but it didn't work. It was already beginning. All right, I've got to concentrate more here. Let's see, I'm going to refine this tip a little bit better. Instead of leaving the end flat, I'm going to round it completely. And the reason why I left the tip flat was just because it's a time saver. Usually I could get good results with, that flat tip, but it wasn't doing very well, so let's try this. On stone, I could usually get away with having a tip like that. All right, so that flake was good. It was right here. Yeah, it's working better with the a more rounded flaker tip. So yeah, inward pressure mostly and passive pressure. Just opportunistic platforms. Nothing fancy. I'm not trying for a flake pattern. I just want to get those flakes to travel halfway or maybe a little bit more. So yeah, I'm starting the pressure a little bit higher than I normally would up on the platform. What's happening is I'm starting the flaker instead of down where I normally would have a good seat, a little bit higher because it's slipping before it gets to the right gripping friction. If I start at this point where I normally would on stone, it slips down a little bit before it takes the flake off. So I start a little bit higher, but it's very, very subtle. That was kind of an aggressive flake. I should be using all passive pressure at this point. So I got one side, this side here, flaked, but there's still some original surface on the other side, so I'm going to go make a pass on that side. On the back here, it's mostly flaked except for this band of original surface there, but I think I'll be able to remove that at the last stage. I had an overshot on that one. Yeah, very subtle overshot. The flake was here. It hit a ridge or something there. I mean a step, and then it pushed the step off and then continued to the other side, following a ridge. So even with the pad, it will do that. So the pad doesn't always stop the flakes. As I go down the blade, I space the flakes further apart. See that little piece of glass? Those are the ones that will go in, and you won't be able to get those out if you ignore those. So now I'm doing a little bit of damage control. Trying to clean up the surface, get rid of the steps in the middle. Trying to thin down any lumpy spots. Yeah, it feels different napping with the glove on the right hand. And I won't be able to adjust the focus. I'm using kind of a short flake technique where I'm not really following through very much on the flake removals. Because I don't want to get overshots. So I'm not pushing inward very much. Now at this stage, if it was stone, I'd be using some indirect percussion on it, but since it's glass, I'm going to continue with the pressure. It's so much easier than stone to nap with pressure. See, there's some original surface still on there, but on this side I think I got it all. There's still, you know, kind of a steppy area in the middle, but I'm not worried about that. So for the most part, it's just going to be pressure. And then getting it thinner, and then I'll put some notches on it. Now the tip has worn down a little bit. Glass actually is pretty tough on tools, apparently. Okay. If any of you were hoping to go to sleep to this video, you just got woken up by those dogs. I have no idea what they bark at. We used to have some chickens next door, but they all slowly got murdered by the neighbor's dog. They would attack the chicken coop. And whenever he would attack the chicken coop, my dogs would go nuts, start barking. So now I don't know what they're barking at. So I am shaping and thinning at the same time right now. And I'm being extra careful and not going very fast, so I don't want to break this on video. As it gets thinner, I'll be a lot more careful with the braiding. So I want to make sure I get it just right so I have no steps during the final pass. Now, Ishii, as far as I know, didn't do much abrading. So it's a difficult technique. You would have to, use the last flake scar for your platform. And I get a lot of slipping that way if it's just a clean flake scar with no abrading in it. So it's not an easy technique. But I suppose it's faster. If you had to do 10 of these arrowheads at the same time, you would want to look for a way to make them faster. If this is going to take me an hour and a half, I won't be able to do 10 of these in one day. And I think it's reasonable to have that goal of 10 arrowheads in one day and still have time to work on the shafts and make at least one complete arrow the same day you do all the arrowheads. At least so you can have a pattern to go by for the next day. Still see some steps that I could be popping out. I was paying a little bit more close attention. I could be popping out some of these step fractures as I go along instead of just trying to wipe them off. Anyway, I'll stop there. I'm almost to the thickness that I want. I think Ishii's points were up to 1/4 inch thick in some cases. Let's see. Yeah, this is 3/16. So his were up to 1/4 inch in some cases for the long ones, the really long ones. So I think I'm at the thickness I need. I could go a little bit thinner. We'll finish it up on the next video.